Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics Tuesday night Q&A. We're recording live on Tuesday, the 13th of May. For those people listening back to the podcast or the video version, ahead of round 10, we are only a couple of weeks away from the buys, so that'll be at the forefront of a lot of our thinking with our trades this week and moving forward. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And we've got a full deck tonight for the AFL Fantasy Fanatics jumping on here tonight. And I'll start off with, as always, with Guesty. Guesty, mate, how are you? How was the weekend?
Mate, pretty busy weekend, pretty full-on weekend. Didn't get to see a lot of games on the Sunday, but no, it was good. Took my kids to monster trucks, which my son is an absolute, he absolutely loves them. So they had an absolute ball, and just busy with work and keenly looking at trades this week because we got a few different, directions that people could pivot, I think.
Yep, exactly right, mate. No, good to hear you enjoyed the weekend. Jordox, mate, how are you?
Very good, mate. Good to see you boys. Had a great weekend, except for my fantasy side. But apart from that, it was a great weekend. Sun was shining. Had a wonderful Mother's Day with my wife and our kids, and saw mum, and yeah, things are pretty good. Oh, and the Crows won the showdown, so laughing, mate.
Exactly right. But someone that won't be happy with that result on Saturday night is Jordy. And Jordy, mate, how are you? How was your weekend? But besides Saturday night.
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having me back on here. I went to the showdown Saturday. It wasn't the best, but I thought we were going to get up. But at least it was a good game, I think, and we were in it. So we'll take that. But yeah, pretty solid weekend. I actually had 5 gigs. So the only footy I really caught was the showdown and the Thursday night game. So keen to only 3 this weekend. So keen to watch a bit more footy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm keen to watch a bit more footy because Slate is clean now. We've had the salt, we've had the sook. My team's shit, but this is what is if anyone UFC fans out there, Alex Volkanovski said, what did he say? Adversity is a privilege, right? Adversity has been thrown my way. I've got to take it on, and we got to move forward. So, and what better time than the buys and these rounds to make some ground up. So let's see what we can do.
Quietly, though, I'm glad I wasn't on Sunday's pod.
No.
Yes, and trust me, and if I could have called in sick, I would have called in sick. But if I wasn't on Sunday night, the pod wouldn't be running. So I had to jump on there. Right. So, but let's do a quick. Exactly. Well, let's do a quick recap around the grounds from here. So, Jordan, we'll start off with you. How did you go? What was your score, overall rank and round rank?
Yep. So I scored 21.15. And my round rank was 10,059. So that's not the greatest. And I went down 18 spots. So I'm at rank 291. So I went down 18. So probably about par. But yeah, I think Jaiden, I was gigging, so I didn't see the Jaiden shorts laid out. Luckily, I copped Hayes 52. So that was a lucky, but I could have put trainer on. But that would have only got me an extra, I think it was 18 points or something, 17 points. So it wasn't too bad. And I think I was with you, Bales, who both traded in day cost. So, sort of wasn't the best start. But anyway, we'll move forward.
Yep, I said clean slate. I want to think about last week. We'll move forward. Jordox, mate, how was your weekend? How'd you go? Score, round rank, and overall rank?
Yep, so I scored 2,043, which, pretty well below par, I think. And in terms of overall rank, I've gone a little bit further out again. So I'm now 11,547. And in terms of weekly rank, I don't know, 600,000, something like that. So, it's interesting, right? I feel the same as you, Bales. Like, I'm really disappointed with how my season's going. And then, I log on and I look at my team, and it's a pretty good team. It's just that tight. It's just that competitive. I look at my team and I think it's in good shape, and yet every week I'm dropping rank. So there's nothing we can do. We can mope and moan and feel sorry for ourselves, which I've done for a couple of days, or we can get back on the saddle and we ride again.
Yeah, exactly right. That's mentality I'm taking forward. As I know, as the traders say, got to be the butter mouse, got to keep going, and hopefully it does turn around. Guesty, how was your weekend? Score, round rank, overall rank?
Yeah, so it's interesting when we talk about the par conversation because par for you, Jordy, is a little bit different from par for me. So I had a 20.55 and dropped 800 spots. So it was almost par for me at where I'm at just outside the 9,000 or just inside the 10,000 mark. So, look, pretty rough week in terms of obviously we know there was some pretty stinky scores out there. Short out, late out impacted me as well. So, look, I actually felt all right about it. Like, I could have got hurt a lot more. I didn't. I've been climbing pretty well over the last few weeks. And I didn't drop back too much. So, once again, pretty happy with the way that the team's shaping up. In terms of overall ranking, 9,738. My round ranking was 24,500. So not a great week, but that's how it is. I'm still primarily happy with most of my team, and we'll just keep trading for a better team from here.
Yeah, exactly. Plus and minus 3, Guesty?
Look, my boy Zach Reed. I was talking about him not being considered a rookie last week.
Okay, that's the one thing I said from Sunday. No more Zach Reed talk. I don't want to hear his name.
I've got him, mate. 118. What a bloody legend. So, look, I mean, I can remember us talking about Zach Reed for a long time about how he would score 100s in the VFL, but last year he would score 30s and 40s in the AFL. So he's really coming into his own now, and I think really starting to play that game like he used to. I'm quite happy with him on field at the moment. And then, look, once again, line them up for stinky fucking plus -3s, right? Whether it's a Clayton Oliver, Caleb Daniel, Nick Dacos, those kind of players. So, move on. Try and make the best trade that I can this week, and I'm just going to try and keep my eyes on the end of the season, keep moving, see how I go. I'm pretty happy where I've climbed. Like I was by far the worst coach out of the whole Content Creators Cup there for a while at like 35,000 or something like that. So I'm really happy with the way I've climbed, but just want to try and keep the momentum going now.
Yeah, and you've passed the baton to me. So
that's right. Boys back.
Yep. No, bounce back Bales is what was calling it from Sunday night. That's the nickname. Jordox, mate, plus and minus 3 for you.
Yeah, so plus 3, I'm going to go with Max Holmes, who, it'd been a long time coming, a good score out of him. He hasn't done really anything since that magical game in Gather Round. But on the weekend, he was fantastic and really needed him to step up just as a somewhat unique player. -3, this could be a bit controversial, but at halftime of the Richmond game, I had ringing in my head, oh, yeah, it's Timmy time again. And I was thinking, Taranto is going to save me from the depths of what a lot of coaches went through this week with poor scoring. I thought a big, fat Taranto ton could be enough to just get me up. And he went to sleep at halftime and didn't really wake up. Didn't even crack the ton. So, Taranto, come on, mate. We know you've got it in you. I need to see 4 quarters this week.
Yeah. Jordox, when you talk about Timmy time, mate, it makes me think of something I do a hell of a lot more now that I'm divorced.
Jordy, who's your plus and minus 3?
That's funny. I'm going to give my plus 3 to TDK because all week I was trading him out to Cherry. That was the trade.
Nice.
And basically my whole plan was I'm going to loop Lindsay with Moraes and I'm going to see what Lindsay gets and that will be my next move. But Moraes was in and I couldn't do any looping. So I thought that's my weakest spot. So, yeah, I'm glad that TDK pretty much matched Cherry. So I'm going to give him the plus 3 on that one.
I know the minus 3 is, I reckon.
Yeah.
But go
on. What, Dacos?
No. Oh, well,
no. Yeah. I was probably going to give the minus 3 to Noah Anderson.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I was saying. Because Mr. Weasel said Jordy ran about Anderson to make me feel better. It was him or Tom Green. We're both on the wrong train. So I was assuming you were going to say Noah Anderson. But what are your thoughts?
Oh, mate, I'm off him. If I could rage trade, I'd trade him right now because he's just not getting the ball. He's getting the ball. He's just not getting the tackles. I think he had 28 touches or something. He got 82. What I've noticed is Gold Coast scored 1,400 points. So they're winning and they're scoring. The game style is just, they're not scoring. There's not a high fantasy game, which I thought with them winning he was gonna go the next level. So I think it's a game style thing. Just hope he can bounce back. I just have to hold him now.
Yeah. Hopefully you can. Beautiful. Well, that's recap the grounds. I don't need to recap my week. We're moving forward, but obviously there's been a bit of debate with the lockouts, with Jaiden Short out, and it's brought up again. Rolling lockout, fixed lockout. Guesty, I know you wanted to, before we get into the question stuff, you had some thoughts you'd sort of like to get off your chest. What are you thinking about the lockout?
Yeah, look, I've just got an opinion about the lockout. I mean, it's probably no surprise to a lot of people. I'm anti the rolling lockout. I've posted about it in the past, but just kind of thinking about it and seeing a lot of the posts that we had this week, it kind of made me think about it from a different perspective. And in fact, I think there might even be some parallels between concussion and things like that in the actual game itself. I think at the end of the day, and I think to some extent it may even be inevitable that AFL Fantasy will adopt a fixed lockout, and for one reason and one reason only. And that's not because it's unfair or not because it's not competitive. Plainly, it's just unhealthy. Like, there is reams and reams and reams of evidence about, extended mobile phone use, social media use. Rolling lockouts keep coaches tethered to their phones all weekend with our subs, our late changes, match by match monitoring. It basically turns the game into a second job. There's no time to switch off, no time to breathe, just dopamine-fueled, anxiety-riddled refresh cycles. And the science, supports this. Whether it's the CDC in the US, whether it's the Black Dog Institute over here, they all point to the same truth, and that's excessive screen time is linked to anxiety, depression, poor sleep, and burnout. And compulsive checking is just a part of that. And I know that, I know over the last couple of years, some coaches have even talked about, why the AFL doesn't have a mental health round, just, with all the other themed rounds. I kind of think this is an opportunity for AFL Fantasy to maybe even, maybe take a lead, certainly, work towards that space. I think at the end of the day, having a rolling lockout, it just doesn't give fans permission to kind of switch off and get away from their phones. So I think, I think AFL Fantasy should adopt a fixed lockout. I'm sure there's plenty of ideas that people have got about how to handle subs and things like that with a form of fixed lockout. But I think it's about, promoting balance, promoting well-being. And it certainly also just includes people with kids, work, or a life outside their phone. So I think, I think that's the only reason that really kind of matters, and that's the only reason that we should be thinking about when it comes to this kind of rolling lockout and fixed lockout debate. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that I was always a fan of the fixed lockout. I do like I guess you almost sort of go in the middle when you do the fixed lockout on Saturday. Gives people still that opportunity if they want to loop or VCs or whatever, that strategy behind it for the first couple. But Saturday, when people have their weekend, when Jordy said he had 5 gigs this weekend. If there was other late outs, he might have missed them on the Saturday or the Sunday. And I know other people have got work and footy and they can't commit to that. They're not like me. I sit down and watch. I didn't watch much footy last weekend, but most weekends I'm sitting down watching most of the games. And I guess I've got that advantage to be on my phone a lot more, right? But there are other people that have got, as I said, work, family, whatever. They've got other commitments. And I think the fixed lockout on the Saturday sort of fixes that. I think that the sub rule as well is the main issue as well. I think the lockout also is a part of it, but I think a lot of it is to do with the sub rule. And if they get rid of that and they do if a player plays like a certain amount of game time or less, like under 40%, maybe you have your emergency kicker or something like that. But the other thing I want to say as well is the people that are having a go at Warney, Roy, Calvin, they're at the end of the day, they're not the ones that run like AFL Fantasy HQ. They don't make the changes in the platform. Like it's not they're not the ones that can change it. They want the fixed lockout, but they're not the ones that change it. So I think don't have a go at them. I think we just got to all, at the end of the day, we all love fantasy, right? We all want to enjoy it. We all want to enjoy our weekend, sit down, watch the footy and sort of relax to an extent. Obviously we can't with fantasy. It sometimes gets the blood boiling or you're sort of very, very happy. So I think we all want the same thing. We all want a fun game, all being able to enjoy it, but also have that time to sort of sit back, relax, and just be able to take in the footy. So that's my thoughts on it as well. Jordy or Jordox, if you guys want to, any quick words on that as well.
Yeah, I just want to say I play Supercoach as well, and they introduced a flex spot this year. So it's like a utility spot, and basically you have 23 players on field and only 22 count. So if you do cop a donut or a laid out or a sub or anything, it's sort of flexible where it covers that. And I guess that's what you're saying about the 40%. So I think I completely agree. I think, potentially they could bring in a utility spot or something like that. And I'm like you, I love fantasy. I'm happy to, I'm going to play it regardless. So whatever is, is best. And as Guesty said, for you, mental health is, it's a big thing. So I think we need to, I think that's really important for the game moving forward.
Jordox?
Yeah, I have a counter view, but I do want to say that a lot of the issues that Guesty raised are very valid and really are something that should be talked about more. The mental health side of this game that we love, and people who aren't into it to the level of us would think it's crazy that we're even having this conversation about mental health in this game, but it is a very real issue. And I agree with that element in terms of the argument or the discussion around rolling versus non-rolling. I tend to think rolling should stay. The game evolved through the pandemic, as did a lot of things in our lives and work, and things change. And I don't see a need to go back. I think some of the stuff you said, Guesty, that is very true about hunting for dopamine on the weekends. I think that will remain even with a fixed lockout, because people are still refreshing to see scores. People are still refreshing to see, what their opponent's captain is doing. I think it goes a lot deeper than whether it's a rolling or not a rolling. So for me personally, I think the rolling is fine. I understand why there's a perceived imbalance of fairness, but I think you could counter that by saying, I work Thursday, Friday nights. I don't, but someone who works Thursday, Friday nights and can't get to their phone to do their teams. So I think the fact that you can make changes to your players until the game starts is actually really good. But I do think more focus needs to be put on the mental health side of it. And the other thing too, for everyone listening, this petty arguing on X about this issue where people are throwing insults at each other, it's just silly. It's not worth fighting and name calling. And I know social media is littered with that. It's a cesspool. But this fantasy community that we're all a part of and we've all played a part in building, I don't know. I like to think we're better than that. So it'd be good to see good discussions on the issue. And clearly AF are looking at how can they change it next year. So let's keep the discussions good, healthy for the game, and not hanging shit on people and name calling.
Exactly. And we all love, at the end of the day, we all love fantasy. We all love footy. We all love the same thing. That's why we all play the game. And just because Jordox is saying he doesn't mind if it's a Ryan lockout, just people are allowed an opinion. And that's the thing. And you can have, as you said, Jordox, you can have sort of sensible discussions and not having to throw insults at just sort of one person with one opinion, one person with the other, and everything like that. So I think, keep it all civil, keep it all friendly, and it'll be a better place for it. Because this fantasy community is fantastic, right? It's why we do podcasts. It's why we tune into other people's podcasts. We get guests on. We talk about this stuff because we love it and we love the community that we've built. So let's keep it happy and continue building the community, because the bigger the community gets, the bigger AFL Fantasy gets, and only better things can happen because of that. So I think that's a very nice way to sort of do the bow tie and finish up the conversation. But very, very good chat, boys, as we start the pod. But we do have buys coming up, and we've got to deal with these. So for obviously the 5 weeks and sort of having to deal with this. So people have got plenty of questions, which we'll get into answering right now. So if you are tuning in live and would like a question answered or player discussed, get your questions in and we'll answer as many as we can there, because I know plenty of you guys out there have got some questions with some trades. We've got a few super chats to get through. So Tim Ashworth's got the first one. Thank you, mate. Jordy saying, I dropped 500 spots. I've got Oliver, Daniel, Bice, Short, and Kako with 99K in the bank. Who do I get to go up from them? So I think the first point of view is how would you rank those guys in terms of trade out? So Oliver just dropped the 40. There's apparently Oliver the tagger now, and Viney's out for a couple of weeks as well, or 1 to 2 weeks. So there's a chance he continues that role. Caleb Daniel, Sheasel back there, role's gone. Bias obviously slowed down. Short injury. Sounds like he'll be available, so probably not as much for concern unless he was to miss. And Kako's obviously a rookie. So how would you rank those guys in terms of trade outs?
Yep. I think for me, it has to be Oliver out. I think I was able to trade the week before, but I don't know. I just think maybe it's best to jump off, and he's still got quite a bit of money on his head, so you can get someone a keeper. Daniel's got Richmond. I know Sheasel and Hardeman are back there, but I think all of them is probably more of a trade out. That's just me personally. I think we'll see. Let's see what happens with Bice. I think Short is going to play. Bice apparently, I mean, there's talk. I was listening to some pods today. Could he get dropped? I don't know. He's been a bit quiet. He should be fine though. If Kako's on field, I think you could go him to potentially like a Sardal Hawley, who I think if he avoids the sub, I think he can be a good scorer on ground. And then I'd probably go Oliver out to a Tom Green or something like that. That's probably where I sit with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I know Tim's doing quite well. So he was like 200th or something around that because he's part of the Patreon. I saw his team a few weeks ago, and so he's probably still in the top 1,000. So I'd imagine that Kako's on the bench. So Kako down to a Sardal Hawley or even a Cooper Simpson if he's in the forward line, you can't move him. And then going Oliver up, you can pretty much get to someone really good in the 900s or even the $1 million. As you said, Tom Green's a very, very good target. So I like those trades. Cody Pemmer's got a super chat here. Jordox, he's saying, I can move Dacos to defence from the midfield. So obviously talking about Josh Dacos. Who should I dump from defence? Got Pryor, Reed, Fraser, Bice and Short. Planning to bring Noddy into mid. So I would say, Kobe, with that one, that Nod has been ruled out for an extra week. He's pulled up sore from the waffle, so he won't play this week. But in terms of if you had to move one of those on Jordox, out of those guys, is it Bice?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are going to be trading Bice. I think I am. So, I reckon out of that lot, Bice, I mean, he's still got plenty of money on his head. So there's a lot you can do I think last week was obviously the right time to trade him, and I didn't. I just felt like he could regenerate that cash with a nice score at Marvel, but in the end, he saved his score in the second half. But I think the longer you wait on Bice, that money that he's made, it's just going to start to drop. So I reckon Bice can go. Yeah.
Well, in terms of Kobe, because obviously Kobe mentioned about Nathan O'Driscoll. Obviously, as I said before, he won't play this week. Is Filippo potentially the guy? Like, obviously, Filippo's pretty popular trade type. What are your thoughts on Filippo, Jordox? Is he someone that, I know he didn't play any midfield on the weekend, but I think Ross Lyon post-game said that they do want to get him into the midfield and high up the ground in the coming weeks. Could you launch into him now, or do you have to see him play midfield first before launching?
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually did launch into him this week, or last week gone, just to try something different, try and get ahead of the pack. And no, I was pretty happy with what I saw. I know he didn't have a CBA, but the way he worked into the game, I mean, he scored 40 points in the second quarter, which is pretty cool. But in saying that, no, if you didn't do what I did, trying to get that week ahead, you probably do want to just have another look. I know that, I mean, I was so hot on him because Lyon had said before he came back, he'll be playing midfield. That's where he's been training. That's where we want him. So he will get there. I don't think it would hurt to wait another week and just have another look. And the only reason is in this period before he rolls into that midfield, there could be a week where he scores a 40. And we almost saw that on the weekend. So, I reckon I'd be waiting.
Yeah, I think you probably could wait and you look for another option. But I guess some people, if they're going like a Lindsay up, if they're on field or a box or something, and it's the best you can get to, I still don't mind going there. But I agree. I think if you can maybe wait and see a little bit more first, then do it. But I don't mind going in as early as this week. Corey,
just to finish that point off, I think the other thing to consider here is that the Saints were pretty soundly beaten in the midfield there, and I think, Ross kind of talked about that in the presser afterwards, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some changes there. So, it would be nice to see a bit more, but I'm not opposed to coaches jumping straight in because I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in the midfield a bit this week.
Yeah, agreed. Corey Blades has got this super chat, so Guesty, I'll go to you for this one. Thoughts on Bice and Daniel to Peatling and Nick Martin as I traded Short to Tom Green this week? So firstly, Short Tom Green, what a great trade that was.
Oh, yeah, great trade.
Very, very nicely done there. So what are your thoughts on, I guess, Bice and Daniel out? It's fine, tick, both those guys off, but what are your thoughts about, I know your thoughts on Nick Martin, you're a fan, you like defender for expertise, so I think he's fine. James Peatling, what do you reckon about him as an option, 797?
Yeah, look, to be perfectly honest, I think you're better off answering this, Bales, than me. I think the price is a bit high. I'm not really looking there just because I think, what is he, 750 or 7? Was he? He's in the 700.
797.
Yeah, okay, almost 800 grand, right? So, priced somewhere like 83, 84. Yeah, you're probably buying someone for what he's going to score, but I'm not sure that I see him much more than 90, 95 players. So yeah, I think there might be better options this week, but I'm not sure who they are. Bales, what do you talk us through Peatling, mate?
I don't mind this play. I like this play. Obviously gone 88 and 117 the last 2 weeks. With Crouch out, I think that's the big thing. Crouch being out has meant Peatling's had more of a role. It has meant that Peatling's game time has dropped. That's the other thing. So like playing this role for the Crows means that Crouch had low game time. Means Peatling's got it. So he's gone 75 and 72% game time. The previous 3 games before that, he was in the mid 80s. So to clear sort of that's the role at the Crows. If you're that fourth midfielder, you'll play low game time, but you'll have a lot of CBAs. I think if you're trading Bison, Daniel, I think I like getting off both. I know Daniel's got Richmond, but at the end of the day, Richmond's good matchup. Probably goes 80, 90, but I think still I'm happy to trade regardless of the matchup. And you get Nick Martin and James Peatling. I guess I wonder if you go for a Jack Sinclair or a Max Holmes. If you don't have either of those guys, can you get someone up from Peatling? I don't know who that is exactly, but maybe a different combo. But in terms of combo, I like Nick Martin. I think Peatling's fine. That Crows have got a tough run to the bye. That's the only worry. They've got Collingwood and West Coast over the next couple, which isn't too bad. But then they go Sydney, Brisbane, Hawthorn, then the bye. So maybe he's a bye play. Maybe you hold him for a few weeks during the bye. So, yeah, I don't mind it. But he is 797, as you say. It's a bit more expensive. If this is a play a couple weeks ago when he's 720, this is obviously a great play. So, yeah, I don't mind the play at all. But, yeah, don't mind the Corey. Steve the Pirate's got a super chat as well. We've got a few super chats coming through, so appreciate the legends out there. Steve the Pirate, thank you, mate. So, Jordy, Philippo and Peatling and 164K, or Green and a rookie and with 334K in the bank, but fielding Sardell Hawley.
That's a hard one. I think this comes down to team, because if he's fixing like rookies and he's getting Pooh and Peatling to rookies, like who knows what rookies, if he's got red dots, then it could be a good option. But obviously Green sticks out there to me because he's a keeper, but also having 334K in the bank is a lot. So I feel like there could be something better here. I do like O'Harley on field this week. I think if he avoids the sub, he's shown that he can score, so I don't mind that as long as once we get the teams, if hopefully he's named on field on the wing, and I do like that. I think Tom Green sticks out to me, so I'm going to go with that one. But I just think maybe he could look at something a bit else with the money he's got there.
So would you maybe go, I guess, if it's a rookie 334, so let's just assume it's 230K. Obviously, you've got, 564K. Would you maybe go, instead of going Green at 1.04, 1.05, whatever price he is, would you go for maybe someone like this, just enough top of my head, Jack Steele in the mid-900s? And then would you go maybe Steele and Philippo maybe? Is that, you'd rather do something like that?
That's a good move, yeah. There's like Sinclair's around there. You've got Josh Dacos. There's heaps of guys below that 950K. Max Holmes, Taranto. That's probably a better, I guess, with those guys. It's just like if you can see, even Noah Anderson, I know we chatted about him, he's 952. If you can get someone that's a keeper, that would be ideal. And, someone like a Sinclair is probably going to be a keeper because he's got the defender status. So that's definitely an option. It's a hard one to answer without seeing the full team, I think. Because if the bench isn't great, then yeah, I like, fixing those.
Yeah, I could have just done Peatling at 164K. That would have made my maths a lot easier than going bloody rookie plus that. So he'll have 961K for someone there. So as you say, you've got lots of Noah Andersons there, Taranto, Jordox's boy, if you want to go there, Jack Steele. You got Rankin if you didn't have a Rankin yet. Sinclair with the good matchup, Josh Dacos. So plenty of good options.
You mentioned Max Holmes. Do we think?
He's 902.
I haven't been watching him that closely. I know maybe some people even have him. did we think that maybe he was carrying something for a while, and it looks like maybe now he's come good?
That was the talk over the last couple of weeks. Just on listening to Selby's pod, and X just thought he wasn't running over the ground like he was, just like running.
Holmes,
You know,
said as
against
well.
that Crows game where he just ran all over the ground and he just wasn't doing that. But obviously, I mean, I didn't catch the game, but he had like a 60-point last quarter, which is unreal. So if he's running over the ground, and like Baz is killing it at the moment, like I would feel like wouldn't like teams try and tag Baz over Holmes?
Yeah.
Which is a good thing for him. So I don't mind him. I think he's definitely hovering around that. Like if he could definitely push the top 6 defenders, or he's like in the mix. So he's probably a good price, and he's got the good buy, right, Bale? So like
round 16, yeah.
You're
And he's
going
got
to
a
get
good run as
if
well.
you get him now, you're getting heaps of games out of him until that buy. So yeah.
So after obviously Port this week isn't amazing, but after that he goes Bulldogs, Eagles, Gold Coast, Essendon, Brisbane, then the bye. So I think he's a good option, a bit cheaper. Worst case is he just does what he did the week before last and just gets his 80s and 70s and 90s, and you trade him at round 16, but he's got a good buy and you can ride these good matchups through. But I think I saw enough in that game that like the thing is, people might say, he had a 50-point last quarter. He was in 60 points essentially in the first 3 quarters. But Giants were a hard matchup as it is. And the fact that he was able to score that big in the last quarter when we've been talking about, has he carrying something? Is he being able to run out games? I think that's a positive. And I think moving forward, I think
he did have
quite good. And
he did have some issue in the third quarter too. So he did spend some time off the ground.
I think he got a hit.
Yeah,
I saw he had the little concussion. Like I think he got a hit or something, and he went off to get it tested, and he was obviously fine.
Yeah, still played 84% TOG. So, I like Holmes as an option. Limits has got this super chat, so thank you, mate. He's saying Lindsay, Boxall, or Marais on field all scoring the same Jordox. So, do you think this decision is just made purely because Boxall, Marais will either not be there or be the sub, and Lindsay's best between two? Is it Lindsay for
Who's
you?
Lindsay up against this week? I would pick Lindsay out of those 3.
Brisbane at the Gabba, which isn't great, but
And Saints have West Coast, don't they, over there? So I probably would err towards Boxall if he holds. He's interesting. Do we think he's in trouble? I know that's a common sort of thought, particularly with the score he put up, but he looked like he was doing a bit of a tagging role. I don't know. I reckon he might be okay, Boxall.
I just don't know if I could trust someone on field that plays 49% TOG, and I think he played 29% TOG in the last quarter. So was struggling. I had him on the bench, and I was annoyed.
They play the last game of the round as well, so it's just like you can't really field that right at the end. I think that could really cook you.
I guess if
Lindsay's had a couple in a row, you don't want that on field.
I'd probably try and
you're right. You're right. I changed my mind out after that, but even still, bloody hell, who do you pick?
I'm still backing in Lindsay. I know he's had 2 bad games, but if you've got to back someone in, I still think he's got the biggest ceiling out of all of them. And he scored a 44 last week. Ryan wasn't great, but Boxall scored a 38, and Marais was sub. If you can loop Marais, he plays the Twilight game on Saturday, and then Lindsay and all that play on the Sunday. So maybe you could loop Marais first, but yeah.
The week before that, Boxall was on 60 at halftime on debut in a game Saints were winning easily, which they should do, you'd think, against West Coast. But
I feel like
that's a tricky one.
Boxall's the perfect guy to loop on the bench. I don't know if I have the confidence playing him straight on field, just the low game time. Or if you can loop Lindsay into Boxall or something, I don't know. But they play back-to-back on the Sunday, so it's a tricky one.
I'd probably try and get Uhali as a downgrade and field him if it's possible over all of those.
Agreed.
And then if he is sub, you could play Lindsay because Lindsay plays on the Sunday.
Yeah, agreed. I like that. Yeah, I'd play Sado Hawley as well. And if he's a sub, you can edit your trade or put him on the bench and put Lindsay on. So, agree with that one. Next super chat, we've got one from Chris. Thank you, mate. So Guesty saying Bice and Short to Tom Green and Kitty Coleman if he's named, or Marais and Short to Green and Sado Hawley. So before we go on the combos, the name that sticks out to me there is Kitty Coleman. So there's talk that he may come back in because Berry is out with concussion. Jasper Fletcher moves to a wing. Kitty Coleman backs in. comes back at the half back. Can you launch in first game, or do you need to see something?
So he's been playing in in the VFL, right?
Yeah, for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
think
how
he
you go
could.
this week? I actually didn't check.
And he scored a
Yeah,
58. Had mid sort of like 15 touches or something.
Time
like
on
that.
ground.
We don't get the
Well-
time on ground stats of VFL, unfortunately.
Mm.
I'd love to.
Really? Wouldn't DFS have him?
Maybe.
No.
I'm not sure.
Don't think they do.
Yeah,
He
look,
blitzed
someone
it
else-
the week before.
I thought it did.
I don't think he'll be in, which will make your choice easy. I think they'll give him another week in the twos. But if he is in, jumping into him, I mean, how much is he? I didn't look at his
527?
age.
Is that right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. Ooh, hang on.
Kitty Coleman
Well-
is 500 and...
Five-
No, hang on.
521.
521. So, yeah.
Oh, it'd be a brave
I couldn't do
coach, I reckon.
it. I couldn't do it first up.
I
Personally.
don't think I would, because you're doing Bison short to Green and Coleman. I feel like Coleman is a good one if you got a Foss or something that you need to fix, and you're going to get a player,
Yeah,
Coleman on the
a
bench.
player. Or you like
Good point.
Stone. How much is Stone? Like Stone is like
41.
for. So yeah, I would
80K.
during the buys and stuff. I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I can flick a Stone to a Coleman. Yeah, you're going to get him through the buys. I think I'd be going the other option because you could get Coleman the week after and fix a rookie. That's what I would do, I think.
Yeah. You go bias to Coleman next week, the week after, if you see something from Kitty Coleman. I just don't know if I could. Like, Philippo was solid last week, but outside that massive second quarter, he obviously wouldn't have done a huge amount other than that, and he played forward. Kitty Coleman, he's got the red vest written all over him. Like, he'll be managed. He'll probably get the red vest in the third quarter if they can use if there's no injuries or anything like that. So, I guess are you in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Yep. So you'd be going. What do you think of Mariah Steph, Sardell Hawley, and then Jaiden Short to Tom Green?
Yeah. Well, I think Tom Green's a great trade-in, and I'd be happy with the rookie downgrade like El Hawali. I'm kind of I really need to get some forwards into my team, so I'm kind of looking at Cooper Simpson. Obviously, played that halfback role with Freo, so I'm not sure what his job security is like. So I might have to do a bit of looking into that. But yeah, look, I think I just like the rookie downgrade. One of the things I've really tried to do this year, and I think it's really helped me climb back into the ranks, is like trying to get as much money in my bank for the next week so that I've still, rather than leaving, 20 or 30K, which, you really, all you're doing is downgrading a rookie to get that upgrade, is trying to have 100K or even more sitting in that bank so that I can just keep doing good upgrades.
The upgrade cadence. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep, agreed. Yep, like those trades there. Shayan's got a super chat as well. Thank you, mate. Saying, what's good, peeps? Would you get Dunkley if it meant needing to get rid of Trainer, or get Dawson if it meant getting rid of Corey Warner? Well, I think for me, I'd be trading Corey Warner if it gets you Jordan Dawson. You're still getting a very, very good midfielder. I think I'd be keeping Trainer. He's still got North and Essendon the next 2 weeks, both at the G. I'd be holding him. Even though I don't know about Jordan Dawson. Like, in terms of, like, I know top 8 mid, like fine, like, right, but he is still expensive, and he's got a tough run. He's got Collingwood, which I think he'll be fine for, and then West Coast. But then goes Sydney, Brisbane, Hawthorn. Just worried that's a tough run. Is there another player that's got a better run or whatever? Jordy, I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah.
Am I overthinking that? Do you think Dawson's still fine, or do you think that tough run you'd go for maybe a Tom Green who might suit the buy structure better, or you'd go for I'm just trying to think, like Zach Merritt is the same price as Dawson, but he goes Bulldogs Richmond. Like, I think that's a pretty good next couple. He's got round 16 as well. Would you go for someone else other than Dawson, or?
I do agree. Like, he's going to come down in price. He got 78. He definitely is a top 8 mid, but yeah, I agree. Like, especially last week, he had a lot more forward time. He got that 120, didn't he, Bales? He had 3 goals. And then, he's been sort of tagged out of the game. I mean, I don't mind still getting him. I think, you could look at Merritt. Also, Green is in that price range. I assume he wouldn't be able to go to Brayshaw.
So just on Brayshaw, there was apparently report today that he missed training. Doesn't sound. I don't know if it's an injury or anything. There's rumours about maybe do they rest him.
No.
I don't see them resting him against Giants. They need to win the
it
game.
was just that looked like just load management. Yeah,
that's what I think as well. And Joy, just to your point when you mentioned about Dawson with the fall time, I do think that it was a bit more situational. The fact that they were up, like looking at the weekend here. From the CBAs, there was a total of 27 CBA, so 28 CBAs, sorry. Jordan Dawson went to 24. So I think in games where they need to be won, I think he'll spend bulk midfield time. But in games where they're up by maybe a bit, maybe West Coast next week is the prime example, maybe spends a bit more time forward as a bit of load management. That's probably what I reckon with Dawson.
Yeah, I definitely think keep Trainer because in the buys, you're going to need him, I think, to help us with. He's a great on-field option and he's going to help in the buys over Corey Warner. But yeah, I think, probably Tom Green or Merritt are the other two, but I don't mind Dawson. He's going to be a top 8 guy. So if you like him, I would lock it in.
Yeah, agree with that for sure. What do we got here? So MJ's got this question here. Love the content, gents. Everyone smash a like. Yes, if you do that, that'd be very much appreciated. Takes 2 seconds, click like, and it really does help us out there. So we got 165 people currently watching live now. Let's try and get 100 of you to smash a like. So it'd be very much appreciated if you can. But MJ's question, Guesty, bring in which combo? Martin, so that'd be Nick Martin and Cooper Simpson, or Max Holmes and Saad El Hawley. I feel like Holmes has had a better run at it without Humphreys being there. So yeah, which combo, Simpson and Martin, or Holmes and Saad El Hawley?
Yeah, I'm going towards Holmes and Saad El Hawley. And the main reason for this is actually because I think you can just get Cooper Simpson maybe next week. Saad El Hawley, I think, what is he, 312 or something along those lines. So I think I'm still a bit unsure about whether he's going to avoid that sub vest or not, but I think he's got a pretty good shot of getting a crack at AFL. So, I think that's the way to go. Save, and then you can always go to Cooper Simpson next week.
Yeah. Just seen Louis put in the chat here earlier as well. Bales, I've waited a week. Should I go for a poo? Wouldn't be healthy, mate, if you have. So, yeah, if you haven't, maybe you need to go get that checked out, mate. But, yes, Filippo is potentially an option for you if you've waited a week. Bloody Louis. Brisbane Bloods, Jordox, thoughts on Lindsay to Simpson and Cleary to Mills? So we'll chat about Mills, obviously. He's listed as a test. I know a few people have said about how can Mills go from being a TBC to a test, but they have said it was week to week and he's had a few weeks. This is one surely you can't go in without seeing something.
I reckon you probably could. I reckon you could. I mean, it's Friday night because part of the reason I was happy to take a chance on Filippo was that I could loop and have a look just in case it went pear-shaped. So, if you're getting Mills in and you've still got Trainer or Reed, you're going to bench one of them. I think you could definitely do it. What's he at? 759.
I really hope he comes out and kills it, eh? We can trade him in next week.
Well, if we talked about these guys, so Filippo, Coleman, Callum Mills, there's a bunch of these guys that if you said one of these guys goes 110 on his return game, would any of us be even remotely surprised if it was Mills? So could be the way to do it, but again, take a very brave coach to do it.
Yeah, I think with Mills, we saw, was it last year or the year before? Maybe it was the year before, 2 years ago.
It was
West
Coast,
I think.
West Coast, when they scored over 200 points. Yeah, you got subbed.
And they subbed him, didn't they? Yeah.
Yep, subbed out in the third quarter.
But they do have Carlton. I don't know. I think he's going to play midfield. I don't think he's going to go defence because I reckon Dean Cox wants him in the mids and they probably need a bit more depth there. But it's just...
Yeah, they need him.
Do they sub him or something? But you wouldn't... Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't go into it first game. I'd need to see it first. He's had so many injuries as well, right? Who's to say he doesn't come back? I hope he doesn't. Hope he comes back and is injury free. But who's to say that the way he's been going, that he doesn't injure himself first game, which I hope doesn't happen. But it's just unfortunate with the way it's gone with him so far. So Brisbane Bloods, I don't think you can grab him. But Greeny said, "Can we launch into Kitty Com?" So he said no, you probably can't. But he's saying, "What about a Blitzarves, Philippou, or Jack to find something else?" So Jordy, obviously, a few people looking at some different options. So you've got a Mark Blitzarves, who looks like he's the number one ruck at the moment. He, for the people listening out there, so Mark Blitzarves is priced, if I can find his price,
$694.
694. Yep, mid defender, break even of 41, has got a pretty nice run till his buy. Obviously, Philippou, we know his price, and then Jaff, his price is $599 after back-to-back tons, break even of 12, but it is at TIO on Thursday. But I also want to add in a Miles Bergman into this conversation as well, 676. So I had a bit of a look at him. You're the port man. What are your thoughts on him, and then also Blitzarves and Jath?
I really like Bergman. I was there, and a lot of people are saying that he's going to go back to defense, because Farrell's out now for 4 to 6. I don't know if we saw that, and a lot of people are saying he's going to go back, but I actually think he's going to stay in the midfield. I actually really like it. I just think it's annoying he's got the round 12 bye, because we're trying to get rid of round 12 players. I actually think he's a good pick. That's my opinion on it. I think he had over 80% CBAs. He sort of did a tag and roll on Dawson, but he's a big body. He's at 189 centimeters, so we might start using him. And I don't know if you listen to Hardball Gets podcast, but there's a bit of hype about him today, and
Ken should keep it.
Ken should. I hope he keeps him in the midfield, because I think he adds something different for us. But again, it is risky to do that and get him in, and he's got the round 12 bye, so you almost could wait and then you get him in after if he does have this awesome role. But with these picks, and depending on your rank, you might have to just take a punt, sort of as Jordox did last week with Philippou. Sometimes you just got to go, and it can work out, and it can also flop. So I don't mind him. That's probably the same. I don't think I could touch Yath, because just the TIO matchup. But I don't mind Blitzarves if he's definitely got that ruck role. We saw SDK go in there early in the year. I looked at the ruck contest. SDK didn't have any, so I don't know if they're going to change that at all. It looks like Blitz is going to be the number one guy. So I don't mind that. I guess
you've seen his run as well. He goes Port, Western Bulldogs, West Coast, but then he goes Gold Coast, which isn't great, but then Essendon. So it's he's ran 16 by. I might not do it this week, but I'm looking at it for sure.
Yeah, I guess it's that question. It's like where you rank. Do you take a punt on this, or do you give it a week and then we got more data and then you launch, and they're still going to be about 700K. So I'm probably not looking there, just because I'm going to go for someone safer, I think, but I don't mind them as picks. I'm not ruling them out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
A Blitz, as I said, obviously if you want to bring him in this week, but I'm looking at it probably for 1 week. I've got some other trades which we'll touch on very, very shortly there, but I don't mind him. I like the Bergman play as well. As you say, round 12 by sucks. I wouldn't do Jath personally. I know that he's done well, but Scrimshaw could be back this week and have a few guys back, and also at Darwin. I know that some people still score well up there, but I'm just not looking at there personally, even though he is at a very, very cheap price. They're probably the couple I don't mind taking a bit of a punt on. We've got about just over a few minutes before we sort of wrap up, so we'll do a bit of rapid fire. So anyone that's still watching, put your question at the bottom of the chat, and we'll answer some of these rapid fire style to get a heap more of your questions answered. But hopefully some of this discussion has helped with, I know there's a lot of people saying about Oliver. Do we trade him out or keep him? And we said we trade him, and people have got some options here, so we'll be doing that. So Glenn Bartlett, I'm looking to upgrade Bice, but who to, Jordox? Max Holmes, Nick Martin, Jack Sinclair, or Nasiah?
I would go Martin, Nasiah, and then you could split Holmes and Sinclair.
Yeah. Guesty, if you had to split Holmes and Sinclair, that's another popular question people are asking. If you had to split, where are you going? Does it come down purely to buys for you, or do you have one preference?
Look, I think I'm leaning towards Holmes. Like I feel feel like we still haven't quite seen it from Jack Steele. And while he might pop a nice little Sinclair. While he might pop a a nice little cherry score this week up against the Eagles, I don't know that necessarily proves that anything's really changed with him. So, I think Holmes has kind of given us enough evidence to show what he's capable of. I tend to think that he maybe was carrying something for a while, and then also was getting hit with those tags. With the way Baz is playing, I think the tags might go there, and that might free him up. So I like the extra 30-odd K as well.
Yeah, I like that as well. Yeah, I think Holmes just there, but Martin's my favourite out of those four for sure. What do we got here? Andrew's asking Jordy, is TDK to Tim English an option? Are you just holding TDK until he's buy now, or can you still go to an English? They got the same buy, so.
Okay, they got the same buy. All right, yeah. So if you're going to get English, you're going to get 2 games out of him, and then he's going to get the buy. It's probably not the best, is it, to trade in someone for 2 games and then the buy? I don't know. I think English is a solid option. I think I'd just be holding TDK. I think until then, and then we could look at it after that.
Yeah, I agree. JR is asking Zorko or Martin. I'll answer this one. It's Nick Martin for me. I know Zorko's been good last couple of weeks, but Nick Martin goes Dogs, Richmond, defender forward, really good flexibility. And Kitty Coleman come back. Who knows what's going to happen with Zorko? I'm assuming he's still start half back, but just something to watch. Here we go. Chris Gow's got this one. Guesty. Prioritise rookies or trade out Clary or Caleb Daniel?
Prioritise rookies. That's where I'm at about it. Like, got to remember this off the top of my head. So who's Daniel playing this week? Or has he got one more and then he's got a good matchup?
He's got Richmond.
Richmond, right? So, he might pop a decent score this week. Look, once again with Clary, who knows? He might be stuck in that role again. Is Viney back this week?
No,
he's out for a while.
Weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I just
134 break even. I'm probably Clary out before the rookie.
Yeah, I just don't buy that. Yeah, I don't know. Look, he might be shit again, right? We all know this is how the game goes, right? But I just don't think he's going to have that role again. I think it's unlikely. So I do think he bounces back. And, once again, it might also depend on the rookies that you've got on field. If you're talking like maybe a Reed, an Ashcroft, or a Trainer, maybe you could probably look at an Oliver or a Daniel. But, with Lindsay's, Sardell Hooley's, those kind of rookies, they could drop a 30. I know Oliver only did a 44 last week or whatever it was, but that's still 15 points more.
Yeah, exactly. George has got this one. Jordox, Nick Martin or Tom Green?
Nick Martin.
Yep.
Oh, wow, really?
I think with defender forward flexibility, I'll probably like that as well with the Richmond matchup.
Still under a mil.
Yeah.
Still under a mil.
Yeah. Joshua James Taylor, Huswaite, a must out. For me, yes. Yep. He subbed out, and Cam McKenzie and Con Nash are probably likely back this week. So
hold on. What if he's playing?
I know, even if he's playing, his cash in's done. You're like, if you can, if you got the bigger issues, fine. But
what's his break even?
His break even, I'm pretty sure when last it was like in the 50s or the 60s, if I'm not mistaken.
64.
Yeah, 64. I think he can go.
I wonder, because they play Thursday, I wonder if you can loop him. It depends what issues you got.
Well, his 2 scores before the weekend were above that break even. And see what teams bring. It's tomorrow night, Wednesday night team, so you will know. But Hawks are leaving a lot of people behind. No, the Hawks are going to rest some this week, so I just think there's a chance Huswaite stays for another week at least.
Yeah, if they're resting a few, maybe Jordy, your boy Noah Anderson might be able to get.
Surely not.
Hold on, Corey.
Sorry, I thought
Corey Blackledge has just dropped a nugget. Apparently, Huswaite didn't get on the plane. So not only are they dropping him, he's not allowed to come and watch.
Trade.
That's harsh. Yeah. So he's not even an emergency. Jeez, that's stiff. All right.
So you got to trade him. We'll go 2 more questions as we wrap up. Sneaker Fusion, Guesty, Oliver to Tom Green, and then Jaiden Short to to Roberts. I don't know if that's Matt Roberts or Archie Roberts, because I actually think Archie Roberts isn't actually the worst option. Don't know if I'd bring him in though.
That second trade's very sideways. It's got to be Matt Roberts for sure, I think. Yeah, I don't like the second part of that trade. What was the first part again? It was
going Oliver to Tom Green. I like that.
I mean,
part of it.
maybe you could do a rookie downgrading, still go Oliver to Tom Green. Look, I would probably actually disagree with what Jordox is, and even what you were saying, Bales, about Nick Martin. We all thought he was a top 8 mid at the beginning of the year. I still think potentially he can be.
Who's this? Tom Green?
Tom Green.
Nick Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Tom Green.
Tom Green. Yeah.
Tom Green. So, yeah, I think with how underpriced he is, I'm not sure that, Nick Martin's going to move too much in price, but I think, you could get on Tom Green at a pretty good price, some undervalue there.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice to have had that last week over Nick Dacos, but that's fine. What do we got here?
It's
thanks
fun.
for that. Thanks for the reminder, Jordox. I appreciate that. And the final question, we will go. Who's the lucky winner for the final question? Jordan Dawson asked, did Adam Chera play defense last week? Yes, he did after all the injuries happened. So many questions going through. I want to get a good one here.
There was one earlier. I'd like to find the name, but I can't find the name. But whoever you are, thanks for asking. Just bringing up Luke Jackson as an option, because that's what I thought as well. But I saw today Longmuir, I'm pretty sure, said Sean Darcy, if he doesn't play this week, he'll be right for the week after. So it won't be a very long play if you were to do the Jackson one. But I like that you went there. It's where I think all our brains go there so often, because Darcy's just so often injured. But he could be a good guy to have and then jump off. But no, I think Darcy will be back.
Yeah. I'll do this. This is one I'll do here. So Louise Mason has asked the praying emoji then, please. So we'll finish off on this one, Jordy. She's asked, hey, guys, is it Simpson and Cleary to Daniel and Green, or Foss and Simpson to Daniel and Nick Martin?
Just run that again.
Daniel.
No, I don't know if I said it. No, it's no, I'll pop on the screen here, make it easier.
Oh, cool.
Simpson and Cleary to Daniel and Green, or Foss and Simpson, or Foss to Simpson and Daniel to Nick Martin. I'm assuming that is.
It can't be to Daniel. It must be Cleary.
I'm assuming it was just a mistake there. I'm assuming it's Foss down to Simpson and then Daniel to Nick Martin.
Yeah, well, that's a good trade. And if it's and the other trade, if it is Cleary to Simpson, Daniel to Green, that is also a good trade. So I guess it's just choosing between Martin or Green, which is the same. But then also you probably do want to jump off Foss over Cleary. So it's probably I'm sort of with Guesty. I'm probably looking at Tom Green this week. But I think if you can get rid of Foss and get Nick Martin, I think that is the one, because you're fixing that rookie.
Yep. Good thoughts there. But that will do us. User 333 has said prediction 1 marquee mid is due for a huge score, 170 plus. And I'm very hopeful that we see a good man that is Jordan Dawson do that again, because a couple of years ago he scored 172 against Collingwood at the G. So that'd be nice, and a Crows win, hopefully. But that'll be nice.
You know who owes me a 170? Sam Walsh. Come on, mate. Do it.
Unbelievable, bloody Sam Walsh. We will wrap up, as we always do on the Tuesday, going through what our current trade plans are as of Tuesday. Obviously, a few days out, and Thursday probably not a fantasy relevant game for a lot of people, so we're probably looking at trades either Friday or on the weekend. So, Jordy, start off with you, mate. What are you currently looking at doing with your trades?
I think I'm going to go Corey Warner to Simpson, and then Caleb Daniel to Tom Green. I think that's what I'm going to do at the moment.
Yep, love it, mate. Jordox?
I like that, Jordy. I've got a lot of cash, which is good, and that was a good point you made before, Guesty. It's nice to, because sometimes you forget you got the cash, and then when you're a bit miserable looking at your team on a Monday, it's like, well, at least I'm loaded. So I'm going to go, I reckon, maybe Connor Stone down to a Cooper Simpson, and then I can get Bice up to pretty much anyone except for Whitfield, which is annoying. But I don't have a Sheasel.
Oh,
I don't have a Wanganeen Miller. Oh, I don't have Nick Martin. Yeah, I reckon I'll get Nick Martin.
She's got Richmond. She's got Richmond. Could be a good one.
That's true. Anyway, that's
but both of them are good.
Bice up to a good primo.
Like it, mate. Guesty?
Sorry, mate. I wasn't paying attention. What was the question? I'm getting triggered by my Twitter replies.
I
posted on Twitter about the lockout, and I'm getting some heat back. So yeah, I was paying attention.
Why does it make people so angry? It's
been pretty. Look, it has actually been pretty. It's been respectful so far. There's no one been a dick about it.
Good.
But yeah, I was just distracted. So
yeah.
Sorry,
your
boys,
trades.
What are your trades? We're up to that part of the show. My trades. All right, cool. Yeah. So for me, we're looking at Connor Stone down to Cooper Simpson, which will allow me to take Riley Bice up to Max Holmes, leaving me 55k in the bank.
Yep, like those trades. And then my trades with my rabble. I'm going Oliver out. I've seen this story before, and he can go. So he's out. But I'm also going Finn O'Sullivan down to Sardell Hawley. Means Lindsay will stay on field for the week, but I've got Angus Hasty and Connor Stone. I can loot Matt Carroll, who I expect to be back for Carlton. I can loot Sardell Hawley, and I can loot Caden Cleary all before Lindsay plays. So I'm one of those four, hopefully puts up a 60, and then that position's okay. But yeah, so Finn O'Sullivan down to Sardell Hawley, and going Clayton Oliver up to Max Holmes, banking about 130-odd K, 140K for next week to upgrade maybe like a Bice or a Caleb Daniel or someone like that. So, or I could even get a bit fruity, maybe Blitzarves, Bergman maybe come in for along with a Max Holmes, but we'll see if I do that, or I'll just do a bit smarter and just do the straight bat, which is Sardell Hawley and Max Holmes. But that's currently what I'm looking at doing. But that will do us for tonight. Apologies if we couldn't get to all your questions. A lot of questions coming through tonight with obviously buys coming up. But if you guys do want a guaranteed answer to your question, do head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. The exclusive Patreon Q&A will be tomorrow night. I'll be recording tomorrow afternoon, sometime after 7, 8 o'clock. So if you guys want to join up there, get your questions answered there, get free team reviews as well through the Ask Me on Q service. All Patreon members get that for free. So if you want to get that, plus all bonus and exclusive content, then please head over to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics, and the link is in the description of the podcast and the video. Muay Thai Fanatics just come in with super chat. We'll quickly answer this. Option 1, Stone to Simpson, Murphy Reid to Filippo, or option 2, Stone to a 230k Rook and Wicks to Marek. For me, it is the first option. Can't go to Marek anymore, and you can't just go basement. I think you got to. I like Simpson and Reid to Filippo. Probably benches a rookie. So yep, I like that one for sure. But Muay Thai Fanatic, thank you very much for the super chat. Snuck right in there at the end. But Jordy, mate, where can people find you across the socials?
Yeah, just Jordan DeSena on X and Instagram if you do want to go over there. Got some music on there as well.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. No, great singer, mate. So if anyone's checked out Jordy's music, check it out. Very, very good. Obviously, me and Guesty got to hear that. We got to hear that in person and gather around. So very, very good stuff. Jordox, where can the people find you and the Finders Keepers pod?
Yep, I'm on X at Jordox 2020, and you can find the Finders Keepers on X at FindKeep AFL. Round 9 episode came out today. Was another big one. Plenty to go through. And don't forget about AFL Subs at AFL Subs on X. Follow that page and turn your notifications on. It was actually one of the craziest ones we've had this weekend with the Jaiden short, because so Elle and I do it. We take it in turns based on who's free to do it. And she'd done the Richmond game, and we were both, that was it. And I just by chance happened to open up my phone in this tiny window I had. My wife was driving us home from my mum's, and I saw short out, and I was like, "Elle, short! Oh my god!" It was like 15 minutes before the bounce, and we got it out, and then the retweets went nuts, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there would have been a lot of people taking breaks from Mother's Day lunches and saying, "Let's sit the pop to the toilet."
Crazy. Yeah, crazy.
Exactly. Guesty, where can the people find you?
Tim Guest AU. I've posted a bit of a post on Twitter there about summarising my thoughts about lockout. If you agree, get on there, give it a share, post some supportive thoughts. And if you don't agree, I'd love to hear what you have to say as well. So once again, I ask that we keep it respectful as we do for a good community. But yeah, get on there and have your say. And we'll see what AFL and Warney decides to do.
Yeah.
And we'll blame it all on him.
And you can find me.
I'm completely joking. It's not him. He doesn't get the final say off. He obviously does have a lot of input, but we know it's the AFL.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find me at BAILSDT, and you can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans as well. And just another quick shout out to as well, our good friend, obviously from Hat Chat, Urban, is doing Lord of the Buys again. So make sure you guys do get involved in that. Obviously, it's really good fun every year. They're all retweeted on our socials and stuff. Obviously, get around it. Obviously, it's always good fun doing that. So Lord of the Buys, get involved in it. I'm sure you'll hear Urban jump on the Hat Chat pod to mention that before. But yeah, make sure you guys join. Code is on our socials to join up with there as well. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you smash like on the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you're listening back on the pod, 5-star rating and review would be very, very much appreciated. I'll be back tomorrow for Trade Talk, Thursday Captains, and then Friday Pre-Lockout Chat as always, 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Perth time to answer more of your questions, and Patreon Q&A will be tomorrow. So thanks everyone, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks everyone. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.